Okay, so although we had started to set some expectations that we were going to be getting a ton of character posters leading into this weekend, unfortunately, Insomniac sort of stopped with the character posters after they released the Venom one. Except for that screwball poster they put out. I don't know what happened with that. And so, we're all sitting here and wondering, well, okay, when is the next bit of news for Marvel Spider-Man 2 going to drop? And thankfully, it came sooner than we expected. Usually when the weekend hits, you shouldn't expect anything. Everyone's off work, but a New York Times article dropped and we got new looks at the open world. We got that and more to go over in today's video. Okay, so like I said, New York Times put out an article, and while they detailed a bunch of information about Marvel Spider-Man 2's open world. With that, we also got new looks at the city, including a spot in Brooklyn, and man, when I tell you this game looks like real life, I can't believe it. It mentions here, Insomniac, the creators of Spyro the Dragon and Ratchet & Clank, thrilled players 5 years ago by letting them swing their way through sites like Central Park and Times Square. The addition of Brooklyn and Queens in Marvel Spider-Man 2 brought new design challenges that included learning the quirky geometry of brownstones and row houses. It was even mentioned in this article that one of the designers said they just spent a lot of time on Google Maps, but also going to different subreddits to get more information about these different boroughs that they were going to include with the expanded open world. And I think that's just as awesome as it would be for you to scroll down and hit the thumbs up button. Continuing on here with the article, though, it says here that designers wanted to vary the urban landscape, ensuring that important sites from comics like Aunt May's house and Brooklyn Vision's Academy were clearly represented. Another difficulty was identifying where to end the playable area in boroughs that stretch into Long Island. So yeah, we're not going to be able to explore Long Island in Marvel Spider-Man 2, unfortunately, and similar to the first two games, there's going to be a point in the open world that you reach where it's going to have to tell you to turn back. I know some people don't really like that, they get annoyed when they hit the invisible wall, and people are definitely going to try and glitch to the other side of it, but you have to understand, the open world in this game is going to be massive, and at a certain point, they have to limit us, okay? Who knows? Maybe in a theoretical Marvel Spider-Man 3, they'll open up Long Island and we can go down over there. But hey, like I said, there are some new screenshots here from Marvel Spider-Man 2 that give us a good look at the open world, one of which is of Times Square. This is in Manhattan. It was explorable in the first two games. And because of that, a lot of people were able to find this exact spot and take a screenshot to do a direct comparison from Spider-Man 1 to Spider-Man 2. And man, this game has gotten quite the visual upgrade, specifically in lighting. I mean, even the night sky looks so much better. The colors pop a lot more. There's some new models on the cars there, and you can even see that there are people running across the street. Usually the pedestrians are just moving normally, but it's nice to see that there's a bit of character there. I'm sure Insomniac is going to do a lot to add those tiny little details to make the open world of Marvel Spider-Man 2 feel even more alive than it did in Spider-Man PS4 or even Spider-Man Miles Morales. Even James Stevenson at Insomniac Games quoted this comparison and said, honestly, it's gotten even more polished since we took that screenshot too. And that blows my mind because these are the screenshots that they want to provide to a publication like the New York Times. These are what they considered some closely finished parts of the game, and they already look so good. So the fact that they could look even better come time for launch in a month and 10 days, oh man, I'm just crazy excited. And I also wanted to mention a part of this article that added some more fuel to the Peter Parker is Venom fire that everyone has been running with lately. It mentions here in the article, in the sequel, players will control two Spider-Men as they navigate new responsibilities and powers, including the ability to jet through the skies with web wings. Parker and Miles Morales, who's from Brooklyn, will twist into knots over a symbiote suit that warps Parker into a villain from the comics, the alien parasite called Venom. I don't think New York Times got the exclusive that Peter Parker is going to be Venom in Marvel Spider-Man 2. I think that this is, again, one of those scenarios where they just got mixed up what the origin of the symbiote is and who Venom is. Even though it's the obvious choice, I am almost certain that Harry Osborn is indeed going to be Venom in this game. I don't think they're going to pull a little switcheroo. They're not going to do an Arkham Knight on us and make Peter Venom. Because in all honesty, more than anything, I would like to see Peter Parker's Spider-Man and Miles Morales' Spider-Man working together to face off against Venom. Maybe they do a thing where we get a sneak peek of how monstrous Venom can be by letting the symbiote take Peter over a little bit, but I don't think he's going to be full on Venom by the end of the game. Like maybe the teeth come through, maybe he gets a little bigger with that symbiote, but Miles defeats him or whatever it is that ends up stopping Peter, removing the symbiote from him, getting it to Harry, and then we get Venom. We did get some bad news from this article though for those who are fans of New York and for those who are looking forward to some famous landmarks being included in Marvel Spider-Man 2. It was mentioned here, depicting a famous city, however, takes more than meticulous renderings. Although the Chrysler Building appears in the 2018 Spider-Man game, it is missing in a 2020 spin-off, Marvel Spider-Man Miles Morales, because Insomniac could not reach a copyright agreement with the building's new owners. And sadly, it says here that the studio says the skyscraper will also be absent in the October sequel. So for those who are unaware, you know, Spider-Man PS4 had the Chrysler Building, but then by the time that Miles Morales came out, they could not reach an agreement with the new owners of the copyright, and so the Chrysler Building was not in Spider-Man Miles Morales. And it looks like the same will be for Marvel Spider-Man 2. There's not going to be any Chrysler Building in Manhattan, sadly. But with some of that bad news, I will bring you some good news. We also got another screenshot here of a location in Brooklyn. This is the Grand Army Plaza Arch in Brooklyn, and well, it says here to better show off the physics of Spider-Man's web-slinging abilities, one design solution was planting more trees than you would find in the real New York City. And I think that's some nice little inside baseball there. You know, they had to add more trees so that you can actually swing around more in the game. And yes, this is a new look at Brooklyn, one of the new explorable areas in Marvel Spider-Man 2. And again, I have to mention that graphically, this game is just unreal, man. The fidelity here is just top notch. Make no mistake that Insomniac is absolutely taking advantage of the power of the PlayStation 5 here. And then finally, it mentions in the article here that the team behind the Spider-Man sequel believes it has already found a winning formula, one that whisks players into the superheroes universe by adding a touch of realism and a sucker punch of New York attitude. Brian Intihar over at Insomniac Games was quoted saying, "What we have tried to focus on is respecting the DNA of the franchise without being afraid of mixing things up." And that's pretty much been the go-to of what Brian Intihar has said about Marvel Spider-Man 2 since they started marketing this game, since he started doing interviews for it. Insomniac is doing something that will be familiar to hardcore fans of the character of the world, but also adding their own stamp to it. That's what they've done since Spider-Man PS4, since Miles Morales, and what they will continue to do going into Marvel Spider-Man 2. And so yeah, that was a really informative article that went over a ton of information about Marvel Spider-Man 2's open world, as well as some new screenshots that gave us a look at it. Now though, we sit and we wait for some more official news in some capacity. There's a ton of rumors rumbling right now that a second PlayStation showcase may be coming as soon as this upcoming week. And of course, if that ends up happening, I'll always keep you up to date on everything that'll be going on, and we'll definitely be reacting to whatever they're going to be showing off. So make sure you're subscribed to this channel. Make sure you got those notifications on. You do not want to miss what's coming up. And hey, with that being said, let me now kick it to you guys. Sound off with your thoughts in the comments section below. What do you think about the details that we got at the open world for Marvel Spider-Man 2 through this New York Times article? If you want to give it a full read, it's going to be linked in the description box below. A lot of great information in there. And also, if a second PlayStation showcase is indeed on the way, if it's going to be dropping this week, what do you want to see the most from Marvel Spider-Man 2? We are a month and 10 days away from getting our hands on this game. I am crazy excited. And with that being said, I've been Caboose, and I'll see you guys later.